Hello, true believer. Today we're going to go through odds and ends in Scratch. So these are just a few things to wrap up what you need to know in Scratch. Okay. So what menu has the math calculations? So sometimes you're going to need to make some real complex mathematical calculations, and they're located inside the operators menu. Okay. So the green options inside of Scratch. Right down the bottom here, there's a whole heap of other mathematical functions that you can choose from. Okay, and these range from all these different high-level mathematical functions that you can use inside of your game. Okay, so that's just something that you need to be aware of. So there's also the add times and all that up the top, but you can use that in this. So one of the options that you need to know, which is a famous sort of paradigm that you need to understand, is mod. Okay, mod is the same as integer division when you look at just the remainder part. Okay, so if you divide a fraction by the bottom, you usually will have a remainder, and that's what mod is just the remainder. Okay, so mod or module operates and finds the remainder after the division of one number by another. So a real simple example, if you do 5 divided by 2, it equals 2.5. If we do 5 mod 2, it would equal 1, because that's what the remainder is. Okay, so 5 mod 2 doesn't worry about the whole number, it just worried about the remainder, which equals 1. Okay, so the output will always be from 0, because there isn't a remainder, all the way up to the number before the number you divided by. So see how 1, if you did mod 2, the only options you could have would be 0 and 1. If you did mod 7, the options would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, which is really useful for some other computer science problems. Okay, so if we did mod 6, those are the possible options. You could only have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the output. Okay, so we're going to build like a little simple mod test. Okay, so we're going to have the input where the Scratch gets a number, and we want to see what the mod of that number is. Okay, so we're going to ask, what number do you want me to test? And we're going to mod that against a mod value that we store in Scratch. So let's just quickly boot up Scratch again. Okay, so here we go. When we click on the green flag, we want to go forever, and we wanted to ask what is the number you want to test. Okay, and then we've got to make a variable, as well. So we're going to make the variable mod value, and I'm going to make that a slider version by double clicking on it. So if I slide on that, see how it gives me different values. Okay, so here we go. What we're going to do now is say what the answer is. So say for 2 seconds, and then this is where it gets a little bit complicated. We need to put in some joins, because we're going to be joining answers from the variables in the input with normal text. Okay, so we're going to join this with this with this, so we need 4 joins in a row, and then the first point is going to be the answer, because that's the number that we're testing, and the next part is going to be mod, then the mod value that we're going to be checking, and then we're going to go is equal to, yeah, and then we're going to actually do the mathematical calculation. So we go down here to this function here with all our different operations. We go down to mod. I saw what I'm talking about. That's not the function. We're interested in mod there. So we got mod straight away. And then we go answers. And then we use the variable that we tried. So mod value. Okay, let's see what happens. So if we try mod 2, if we did 5, the answer should come out as 1, because that would be the remainder. There we go. If we increase that up to, let's say 6 or 9, if we typed in 17, okay, let's see what happens. We should get 8. Yeah? And if we look at our little program here, we haven't put in spaces between these two. Yeah, and then also spaces in between here. So now let's try that. And let's try something a bit bigger. So 22. There you go. 22 mod 9 equals 4. So there's a little program that we've made in Scratch just to show you how mod works. The next part is then we need to sort of talk about the pen tool. So the pen tool is this option of being able to draw lines behind you or anything from points to points. Okay, so this is a simple little exercise that you can use to create a dynamic line. So as you move from here to here, put the pen down, repeat, and it basically will follow this direction all the way around. So you can have a play around with that. But I would prefer for you to get straight into the rainbow screensaver, okay, which is activity number 10. And then once you've completed that task, there's activity 9, which is a shooter game. So another shooter game, just to practice your skills with putting it in. And this actually has a dynamic number scoring system up in the top right. So you can play around with that and see what you think. Okay, happy programming.